Okay, so we are back with our second installment of our helpful hints using Schoology in Zoom. Today we're going to focus on Schoology again, and we're going to use a different question type that's under the Schoology assessments. We're going to use fill in the blank, drag and drop. And when I say I just learned really how to do this, I mean that. This morning, I discovered with a teacher how to create a certain type of worksheet. Okay, so we're going to take this worksheet right here. It is just a worksheet that has a word box in it, and it just wants them to take those various words from the word box and place them in the respective cells. Now it also has these questions at the bottom, which is fill in the blank. We're not even going to worry about that. We're just going to take this right here and try to reproduce this. So I go to my Schoology account, and I've actually done this today. So let me get to the account that I did it in and show you what it looks like. Um, so this is the actual worksheet. I'm gonna preview it. Now I like to have a video um, for any assignment that I have. So because it's asynchronous, I want to make sure that the students have many opportunities to see this information in different formats or modalities. So videos are around, I use them a lot. Videos and then just short readings and stuff. If it had I could also put some short story dealing with respiration or photosynthesis on here, but I just put a video, it's easiest. Okay, so now I go in and start my first attempt, and it looks like this. It is that table, and I should have probably put that in the center. My bad. And all I did was I created a table. I wrote out my headers, and then I put a response blank in. And then at the bottom, I created the word box with all those different words. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna recreate this. So I'm gonna go to this. Actually, I'd rather recreate it in another course. We might have an example. Okay, my example course. I'm going to go to add materials. We're going to add an assessment. And we'll say photo versus respiration table. I always add a due date, even if I have no intention of really assigning it because I'm not in the classroom. Because this allows the students to see it under the reminders on the right side of the Schoology page. So always have a deadline, even if you're not going to grade it, so they can know that this assignment is important. And because this is an assessment, it's a Schoology assessment, it always defaults to disabled for submissions. Otherwise, the students can see it, but they can't submit their answers. So because I have a tendency to forget things, I will suggest you go and enable it. Unless this is a formal assessment, enable it so that when students see it, they can actually submit their answer. You have to choose category, but choose quiz just because actually it's not a quiz. I'm going to say a homework. And then remember, if I want to select certain students to do this assignment, either I'm using this as an accommodation or I'm using this as an extension for those GT students, I can go in and individually assign this to certain students. Or I can just, if it's massive, just math students, I'll just keep it like that. And I'm gonna put this up here because I like when students know their grades and compare it to other people. I'm a very competitive person by nature. Now, it defaults to the settings page. This is important to me. I always, when I do my trainings, real quick trainings, I always tell people to go back and look at the settings and choose their preferences, but most people don't. And I would suggest that you do because some of them are very important, like time limits. I wouldn't give my students time limits during asynchronous sessions, but maybe you want them to have a time limit. Certain things I wouldn't randomize, like anything like what we're going to do now. I wouldn't randomize that because you can't. We don't randomize. Don't choose that. Show possible points for each. I don't really care if they have that, so they can do that if you want. Now, here's where it's important. I like to have students to remember to utilize test taking strategies. So I want them to be able to flag any assignments or any questions that they struggling with, because I always say, if you don't know it, skip it, come back to it. It'll be there when you return. I want them to be able to eliminate answer choices. Now, it's not really going to be that situation, I think, here, but I always choose that. I don't need a calculator, I don't need a ruler, I don't need a protractor, but if I did, I can enable those so the students can have access to it. I can use a highlighter, and I would put a notepad. Not all students are going to use that, most students won't, but there may be some students who will. Now, here, these last two things are very important. How many attempts do I want students to have before they submit it, or able to do before they submit it? I personally default to one, and then I can go back and open it up later on at a later date as a because I want to make sure that if you missed something and you did poorly on it, you need to go back and find the information, and then I want to make sure that I set that expectation up before I allow them to go in and just randomly do it again. Allow students to view results after attempt is, I want them to always be able to go back and look at what they did, they wrote. I do not want them to have the correct answers though, because they need to figure that out, but I will allow them to look at their answers, and I can save that. Now, here's the good stuff. When I go to my questions, I have on my left side, and we've done this before, you have a wealth of different question types. If there are a lot of Schoology assessment tutorials on YouTube, it would be worth your time to go in and explore these different types of assessments. Right now, we're going to use fill in the blank, drag and drop. And then the last helpful hint was the multiple choice. We did the tried and true real quick thing. So I click on that because what I want to be able to do is, since we're going to have a word box anyway, I just want to write those words and then to just be able to grab those words and drag them to where they need to go. Okay. So, but I want to reproduce. I have to reproduce my table. So I'm looking at my table. I have 3 columns, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So that's what I want to put in. I want to put in. I'm gonna click on this box. I'm gonna go over to table, click that, and I had 6 rows, I believe, and I had 3 columns. And I want to, because it will create this table with no borders and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure I put some styles on. Condense it. Stripe means it's going to be, you can see different colorations on each row. Hover, I'm not sure what that means, but I'll check it anyway. And border. And then my first row and my first column are both headers. So it looks like so. I'm going to go to my first row, and I have photosynthesis respiration. So I go here, photosynthesis, and then I go over respiration. Okay, so I'm going to take a little time, and I'm going to type this up, my headers. Okay, so I typed my headers, photosynthesis, respiration, what is the purpose, which types of cell do this. I hate that grammar. This grammar is so off, but we don't want to spend too much time on which organelle in the cell does this. Reactants, products. Try to make sure your grammar is correct. This is not. Okay, so once I've done that, what I want to do is, because I want this is the area in which I want the students to fill in information. So what I have to do is I have to place underscores under. So I hold down shift, and then I press on the line. So shift line, shift line. And if you notice, it's numbered. So these are my answer choices, shift and line. So when I say underscore, like if you're doing your emails, you know how you have underscores there? That's what we're using. So I have 10 of them. So that means I need 10 responses. So what I do is go down here where it says possible responses, and I'm going to type up what the responses are. Green plant cells. So I'm going to take a few minutes, and I'm going to type this up. Okay, so I put in a number of the answer choices. I didn't put all of them in because one of the a few of the answer choices require me to do a special thing. Okay, so you see where it says glucose plus O2. This O2, the 2 is a subscript. And I had spoken to some teachers, and they were having, it was math teachers, I believe, and they were having issues with creating subscripts and superscripts in as a option for when you're writing the question. And I discovered today, just happenstance, how to do that. So I'm going to recreate one of them. So it says I have CO2 plus H2O plus ATP. Now, anyone knows when you see CO2, that 2 needs to be a subscript, and that 2 right here needs to be a subscript. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to go over in my toolbar to the sigma. The sigma, it represents mass. It's like your calculator. And so I'm going to find the option that has a subscript. This X in this below box is a subscript. This X is in the up above box is a superscript. So I can click on that and then put the number 2 in there, and it knows, and down at the bottom, I press OK, and it knows that this is now supposed to be a subscript. And I do the same thing for my H2O. Press the number 2. So I have carbon dioxide plus water is plus ATP. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and do. Actually, I can just copy this for my next option and paste it. And instead of ATP, it says light. And I think that is. I think I have one more. Glucose plus O2. Okay. So I think that's it. So now, the great thing about Schoology, this is the reason why we went through all of that, is if I create a key in Schoology, it will grade it for me. I do not like grading, so this is gold to me. So when I go down here, it has all those options, those response options I can put, and then I create a key for it. So I'm going to drag and drop. This first one is photosynthesis. I got to move this out the way. Photosynthesis, mitochondria is the organelle for respiration. Chloroplast is here. So I'm going to move this stuff and create this key. Let's see, all cells is what happens for respiration, and green plants is here. And you know what? I needed 2 of these glucoses because one is a product and one is a reactant. So I will need one here and I need one right here, but that's all right, whatever. And ATP is produced, light is here, and then capture and store energy, and then release energy. So what I can do is I can go up here and I can click here, and then I need this again, right? So I'm gonna copy that. Okay. And so now I have an extra one down here. Okay, so because my worksheet is basically this, I'm not gonna add another question. It actually has like 10 options. So this to me is 10 questions. I go down here and I change my scoring type to partial match, because what will happen is they will evenly weigh these, and then if they get any of them right, they will give them the that as credit. If I did exact match, everything had to be right in order for them to get credit. So I want to do it that way. And the last thing I need to do is I need to attach my state standards. Always attach your standards, because your standards, you can always pull the data and be able to go back and look at students' progression over the year as they encounter those standards, and you can kind of see how they fare. So I'm saving this, and now once I do that, I don't have to create another question. This is just, I just wanted to take this worksheet and get it where Schoology is graded. So I'm not going to have another question, but I want to preview this. I want to preview it, and I should have seen, oh, there's something I didn't do. I like to, like I said, I like to have a video. So I'm going to go up to setup, and I'm going to add here. I'm going to go and find a video that I like from YouTube. I'm going to get it the embed code, and I'm going to go over to Schoology. In this box under setup instructions, I can click here. I don't know, I could do it that way. That's typically the way I do it. I'm gonna go here, go to this little rectangular box, and it has a little arrow coming through, and I'm going to go in image media. This was from the web. It was a media, because it's media, and then I can paste that that code there, embed code. The other way is I can go here and see. The reason why I'm not going to do it now because I like it when this box is clear. But now I've done too much right now, so there's stuff in there. So I do it this way, and then I'm gonna put instructions here. I want them to watch the video, this video, before answering, before completing the table. I want to change my font because I have that option. I want to make it bigger because I can barely see it, let alone the students. And I want them to know, I want you to watch this video. And then I bold this, instructions. And I go down to the bottom, I save it. So now when I go to preview, that's the first thing I see. Bam. So I see the video, I'm a student, I'm gonna watch the video, then I'm gonna go and start the new attempt. And this is kind of just, it acts like an anchor chart in a sense that it kind of reminds them of the information before they start attempting to solve the problems. And then as a student, I just drag and drop whatever I want, okay? And that's it. It'll grade it for you. You'll spend less time having to look at people's stuff, and you can give them immediate feedback. So I hope that helped. Okay, bye.